Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Mike Moe, and I am the Director of Tourism Development and Strategic Partnership for State of Washington Tourism. Welcome to our webinar on the Arts and Culture Grant for 2024. Today, we are going to provide an overview of our fourth grant program this year. It is designed to help your community support the promotion and management of artistic and cultural forms of expression as tourism assets in your destination. First, I want to give credit to the Washington State Department of Commerce, who awarded SWT with a $3.5 million Destination Planning and Development Grant. This program provides the funding for this grant and all of our grant programs to come this year and next. So a big thank you to Commerce for their confidence in SWT. So here is our agenda today. First, I'm going to give you an overview of the Arts and Culture Grant, and then I'll turn it over to our Destination Development Coordinator, Tamara Rice, who's really your first point of contact with us with Grant, and she'll show you how to apply on our amazing grant management platform. And then finally, I'll give you a little overview of our budget document. For those of you who've been through the previous three webinars, that last part might be a little repetitive, but if you're new to this process, you'll certainly want to stay on until the end to learn how to apply. As always, we should have plenty of time to answer questions at the end and maybe a few times throughout the presentation. So I'll keep an eye on the chat. But also, please don't forget to use that Q&A button for questions. Also, this webinar is being recorded. I know that I can talk a little fast, so we'll send out a link to all of you so you can review the video later at your own leisure. So let's get started with our Arts and Culture Program overview. This grant is designed to support the promotion and management of artistic and cultural forms of expression as tourism assets. These include art shows, concerts, festivals, events, as well as museums, historical sites, cultural institutes, and creative districts. The Arts and Culture Grant aims to boost the local economy by attracting overnight visitors who are interested in experiencing the artistic and cultural offerings of people in a place while mitigating any negative impact on residents, social services, and public infrastructure. This grant can help fund a variety of projects, including but not limited to the ones here on this list. I will say that festivals and events, any kind of event, we always like to see new events or at least something that is new to your destination in the last 3 years. So it's not, money going into something that's been going on for, decades. It's something that's new to your community. So just want to point that out. Applicants must be a Washington-based organization, such as a local government like a city or a county, a travel organization, a chamber, a destination organization, or some other nonprofit that supports travel and tourism. Here are the key program dates here. The grant will open on March 15th. You'll have a full month to apply. Throughout the process, Tamara will be here every step of the way. You can always email her. I'm sure she'll put her email in the chat. We also have a grant consultant. Her name is Eliza. If you were on the grant writing webinar yesterday, she's amazing. She is around if you have some specific questions on how to write a grant. She has 20 or 30-minute consulting periods that she has for free that we can schedule you. You can always, again, schedule those through Tamara. So if you have questions about the specific, part of the grant as far as pertaining to commerce or like who can apply, that goes to Tamara. If you have questions about, how do I, write this grant in the most compelling way, that's what you'd want to use Eliza for. So again, these are the program dates. Please note that these dollars do come from the Department of Commerce, and we can only invoice Commerce after we have contracts in place with our grantees. And then we can only fund the grants once we have received the money from Commerce. So there are some approximate dates on there, and that is because the money needs to wind through the whole, Commerce machinery and then through us and then out to you, but we will try to hit those dates as closely as possible. Up to $30,000 will be awarded for each grant. Matching funds are encouraged, but not necessarily required. And we have $162,500 total available for this program. Just like the other grant programs. We'll be running it this year, and we're scheduled to run it again next year. So keep that in mind. One other thing I should note is that if you apply for this grant, you are not precluded from applying to any of our other grants. You can always apply for more than one. Um, and then it's not necessarily in our grant criteria. We do love to see collaboration with other stakeholders, including your DMOs, your chambers, your tribes, your local government, and land managers. Now, I will say this question just came out this morning. If you are applying for some event or some thing you're doing, and it's more than one organization, you only have to put in one um, application. You don't have to put in several different applications for that one event. We only want one application for each activity. As always, we want to see commitment to DEI, how this project will incorporate safety, security, accessibility, and inclusion to all visitors. As I've mentioned before, this money is federal grant money. So there is more stringent rules than the money we've previously given out. First of all, when using federal grant dollars, they are federal grant dollars all the way from the U.S. government through Commerce to through us to you until they hit whatever business or subcontractor you use. So the rules don't change. First of all, you and any subcontractor you use will need a UEI number. That's a unique entity ID number, which you can acquire for free at sam.gov. That's sam.gov. A link will be provided with your on your application, but it takes a while for that to go through, so I wouldn't dilly-dally. I'd get on that. Also, Tamara is going to explain that you not only need to get a UEI number, you also have to register with sam.gov, which is like an extra step, but she'll go through that here in a little bit. With your subcontractors, you do not need to explain what subcontractors you're using in your application. In fact, we don't want to see that. We want you guys to kind of go through the process of selecting your subcontractors once you've been selected as a grantee. So don't tell us who you're using. You can say, oh, we're looking for this kind of vendor for this kind of activity. Just don't get too specific on that on the grant application. Your subcontractors also need to be billed on a reimbursement basis. We'll be paying you up front with the grant, but for any work that's done, you have to pay on a reimbursement basis. That's a federal rule. So you pay them after they do the work and send you the invoice. Every dollar spent needs to match a receipt. We'll provide you with a reporting template, but you really have to keep track of the dollars. So just keep that in mind. And finally, dollars cannot be used for staff salaries. You need to hire a legit vendor or contractor. You can't just hire your marketing person or somebody's uncle. It's got to be somebody doing the job there. After you submit your application, a grant review committee will score the application based on the criteria listed here. First of all, you provide a detailed proposal of the grant project as it relates to arts and culture. You'll want to include a timeline, a budget summary, any other partners who are along for the ride, and other relevant information. Tell us how this grant project will support travel and tourism in your community, and then provide a statement of need for the grant project in your destination community. We want to see that you actually need that money, and then how does this grant project incorporate safety, security, accessibility, and inclusion? What kind of match funding will be available? And then how will you comply with all of our reporting requirements? So I'm going to stop there for now. Let's check the chat real quick. Good, you guys are using the chat for hellos and how are yous. That's good. And the Q&A. Would this grant be able to cover a feasibility study for a future large project? You can apply for that. It's available, but I will tell you, we're really looking for a more immediate impact on most of these dollars. So that's my answer there. So now I'm going to turn it over to Tamara Rice, our Destination Development Coordinator. She's going to walk you through the application process, and then I'll be back here in a little bit to walk you through the budget template, and then we'll answer any other questions. Oh, wait, there's one more question. in the chat. What if there's an ongoing public art program, like a rotating sculpture program? Again, Stephanie, we really like to see something new for this. This is supposed to be kind of helping new things come to your community. Oh, more Q&A. Hang on. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Can match funding be our general operating dollars? No, they can't be. The match funding cannot be dollars used from your organization or your staff hours. Can we use volunteer labor, or does it have to be paid contractors? Any volunteer labor, now that would work as in kind. So you can count that as in kind. I believe there is a national standard hourly rate that you can count as in kind. I'm working on a new event that will take place in the middle of July, so the timing is very tight. I don't see why that would. I think that would be just fine. July is you have a full year to use this. That'd be fine. Would this grant fund a capital project if it directly ties to arts and culture? Depends on the capital projects. It's kind of a dicey thing. We really, I think on this one, we're trying to stay away from most capital projects, unless it was something that really related to that you can really prove that it's increasing visitation or increasing accessibility or something that really fits within the guidelines there. Wow, lots of great questions here. Can you clarify if all contractors involved in the project need a UEI number or just the one that apply to the items listed in the grant? I don't know exactly what you mean, but first of all, you won't need the only people who need UEI numbers when you apply are the people applying for the grant. Once that's done, when you are contracting with a vendor, they do need a UEI number, or but you have time to make sure they get that. So they will need to be a legit company. They also need EIN numbers. They need W-2s. Kind of the standard requirements. And I'm sure Tamara can answer some of these questions too. What about the revival of community festival that hasn't been happening for a few years? Yes, that's a great question, Danny. You can apply for a revival of festival. I mean, this is all about kind of regeneration. So that's a great one. You stated that new events and festivals are strongly preferred. My premise for this grant prior to jumping on the call was to help double the footprint of a legacy festival. I know, but this is not really about expanding a legacy festival. So I'm sorry, that would not apply. The art installation is planned to go underway this summer, but we need funds to capture vital assets after the construction is complete to promote visitation. Would the project be eligible? Yes, it would be eligible. Again, you really just need to kind of prove the viability of the project and that it is contributing to what we're looking for. Can a local chamber of commerce apply for a grant? Absolutely. What about an event that would be in its second year in 2025 that's made a big impact on a tiny shoestring budget in 2024? Yes, that would qualify. It's the last 3 years. You have 3 years going back. Could you apply for an event that might be going on for a while, but you're starting to invest more? No, again, the limit is 3 years going back. Okay. There's probably more things in the chat, but I'm going to stop there and we'll come back to you. We'll let Tamara go ahead and walk you through the application process, and then we'll be back in a little bit here.
Great. Thanks, Mike. Hi, everybody. First I want to let you know where to find the link for the grant, and it will be available on the day that the grant opens. And for this one, it is March 15th. So you'll be able to find it on the industry website on the grant landing page. And I'll go ahead and share my screen here. So when you click on apply, the first thing you'll see, are you all, Mike, are you seeing the program info page? Okay, so this is the page that you will see. And when you click on apply, it will allow you to create your new user account. And so when you're creating this, go ahead and use the email that you use here will receive a 6-digit passcode. And when you click on create account, you will enter that passcode at that time. So then we go back to apply for the grant. And on the program info page here, you'll see all the information, a lot of this information that Mike just went over with you. It also has detailed information of the timeline and stipulations for working with contractors. We also have several resource links included here to help you out. And we will include the FAQ for this grant. Also, there is an FAQ for the application portal, and we'll include the recording for this webinar. My contact information is here as well. So I'll click on apply. And so I already have an organization set up, but you will be creating a new organization. So please ignore this area here with the blue checkbox. Are you a 501c3 nonprofit organization? This grant is not only for 501c3 nonprofit organizations, and this is an area that's used in the WiseHive portal, and SWT is not using that. And just one moment here. So this is actually what you'll see as a new applicant with your new user account. Again, ignore this area here and click on Create Account. Okay, so I already have a profile set up here. So the questions that you'll be answering on this is your organization's legal name, your EIN number, your registered UEI number. Again, like Mike said, it does need to be a registered UEI number. So for those of you that maybe are just now getting your UEI for the first time, you'll get a confirmation, yay, you have your UEI number, but then there's also a little bit more information on that says how to go ahead and register for it. And for the federal funds, you do need to register for this UEI. From my understanding, there's two different registrations. One is for grant funding awards, and then there's another one that's more extensive. For these funds, it's the grant funding award registration. If you have questions on that, just pop me an email. We'll need your organization's mailing address and the primary contact. There is an area here to add more contacts, and you can add up to 3. We do want to have more than one primary contact, but if for some reason you don't have any more, just put NA in the first 2 fields here that are required. And if you have a destination marketing organization to include, please include it here. So we move on to the application, and you'll see here there's a little area with the 3 heads. That's where you can add collaborators. If you want to add somebody to help you work with this program or this application, you add them here. Keep in mind that you need to always have one lead applicant. And so the questions on the application will need your project title, the grant amount requested. This grant has a maximum of $30,000, your estimated total cost for the project, and your project category. And you'll select one on this. You will also be selecting your regions, and you can select more than one for this. We'll need your city's location and county. And if there's any other additional locations, please include them here. The application questions, the first question has the most weight, and it's an 800-word maximum. And then the other questions are 400. The supporting documents that you'll be including are the EIN verification letter. This does need to be your EIN verification letter, or as somebody pointed out yesterday, it can be an affirmation letter. So if you have lost your EIN verification letter, you can contact the IRS here at this number and get the ball rolling to receive your affirmation letter. But we do need to have one of those uploaded here. Your unique entity ID registration confirmation goes here. And it does need to be a confirmation that actually shows that it's the registration. Thank you. Sorry to be hounded on that one, but it's been a pain point for some folks. Then your W-9, and on this one too, actually a lot of folks are submitting them without a signature or a date. So make sure you look at that real close before you upload that. The grant budget is actually, there's a template included up here in the application. And you'll want to upload that. We'll need your organization's annual budget information and the annual marketing budget. Now for these, we just need a round number. We don't need a line by line budget for this. Your legislative district for your organization's location. If you have more than one, please list them here. And there's an area for optional documents that will help the review committee. Letters of recommendation are not required, but they're encouraged, and you can include up to 3 here. And finally, we're at the application agreement and signature area. So this is actually agreeing to the criteria of this grant program. It is not a contract. If you are a successful applicant, you will receive an award contract to sign. Let's see if I've left anything out here. Yeah, I also want to say, really take the time to look over your application and make sure that you've reviewed it, get a second set of eyes on it. And just know that once you submit this application, you're not able to edit it. So that's important there. You'll receive a confirmation after you submit it. And I think that's about it. There's the WiseHive FAQ to answer some more of your questions. And my email address is included in the chat and also at the end of the PowerPoint. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Tamara, and we'll have you come back on for questions at the end. There's at least one that will be for you. I'm going to go through the budget template just so you guys can see it, and then I'll come back and answer more questions because there are some great questions in the chat and in the Q&A. So this is the grant applicant budget template that you'll submit with your application. This just kind of keeps track of your anticipated budget. Okay, so when you're putting these things down, you're not putting like specific vendors. You're just putting in the activity that you're going to be hiring for. You'll be putting in the tourism grant expense, maybe your own expense. This would be something like a matching part, and then any kind of in-kind that you're anticipating. So it's a very simple budget template. You'll get one with a bit more to it after if you are a successful applicant, and a grantee will give you a more specific spreadsheet to keep track of your expenses as you go along. So I just wanted to share that with you. And again, if you have any questions, reach out to Tamara or myself, and we'll be happy to help. Let's see here. Stop share. That's what I need. All right. So there is a couple other questions in the chat. Tamara, do you mind coming back here? Because this one I want you to answer from 1D. If we have a UEI number and we've registered in the past, are we okay? Or do we have to have a new UEI number for each grant? Actually, you don't need a new UEI number for each grant. You just use the same one. Sorry, that they're not.
I do want to say you want to make sure that you check to make sure it's not expired. So
yeah. The other thing, Wendy, if you've already applied, I believe that you just go back in and there's a lot of it you don't have to redo, right, Tamara?
Your UEI number will be in your program, your organization profile, but you will need to upload the UEI registration confirmation again in your application.
There you go. So this is why I wanted you to come back. Okay, more questions. Okay, so this is one that's throwing me for a loop a bit. I'm planning an event for July 5th, 2025. Awards are given 2024, June 15th, with 1 year to expend the funds. This would not work. Or could it work if the expenses are incurred prior to June 15th, 2025? I think it would work just fine if the expenses are incurred. with these events, what we've done in the past with the sports incentivization, we actually gave everybody up until the end of 2025. So I think I'm gonna change it. It's kind of what we can do here. If you have an event that's happening in 2025, you just need to make sure everything is expended by December 31st, 2025, because that's when this grant program completely finishes. And so if you have an event that's going on in 2025, you can use these funds for it. Now, again, there will be another round of this next year. So keep that in mind. I hope that makes sense. Can we apply using our fiscal sponsors? And we'll send out, by the way, a new timeline on that, because I am just kind of making that decision on the fly here. But I think it does make sense, similar to the sports events, where you have up until the end of this grant cycle to use those funds. Can we apply using our fiscal sponsors UEI number? Your fiscal sponsor. So, Holly, I need more detail on that. Are you a nonprofit and your fiscal sponsor is a for-profit? If so, that would not work. So please either get with us later on, or give us more detail on that question. Can this be used for upgrades to event spaces like a community space or theater that needs updates in equipment? Yes, this is kind of in that, what's a capital improvement, question, but you can do that because that would increase your capacity, and so theoretically that would increase, people coming to visit your area. How can those of us asking about expansion funds help you all lobby for this case? Oh, Jenny, what a great question. We will definitely help you, help us lobby for a use case in future years. That will be coming. This, as we've said, this is all from, the commerce, but other DMOs around the country, other state DMOs do this every year. I mean, in Oregon last year, they gave out $3 million in grants just like this. And so we're only doing $1.5 million a year because of this federal program. So, obviously we want a more sustainable funding model that going forward that will help us do this every year. Because this is so important, I think, and we haven't really had this in Washington for so long. So, I mean, I think a lot of people didn't even know they're missing, but hopefully now they'll understand that this is something that we should be doing every year. You have a nonprofit. The name is changing. We're all good with state. The IRS still has not sent the new letter of name change. Is my old letter okay? Also, Out Festival in June 2024. I'm not sure what you mean by Out Festival. Our festival is in June 2024. That'd be fine. Tamara, do you have a inkling on that one?
I would think that we need the new letter with the name change by the time the application deadline hits.
If they're still officially the old name, though, you know what, Cliff? Send us send us all the information, and we can check with Commerce and see where they come out on it. It's really a Commerce. These are all not our rules. We're playing by Commerce and federal rules. So
yeah, that's great. Yeah, send me an email and CC Mike on it, and we'll check with Commerce. Thank you.
Okay, would critical repairs to preserve an asset listed on National Historical Register qualify? This is a structure open for tours. Again, yes, it would qualify. It's just you have to make a real good case that it fits kind of what we're looking for here. And I will say in the past we've had many theaters and museums who are trying to like renovate that, and this is only a small part of their renovation that the committee has in the past not really looked super favorably on that, but it's just it does qualify. We're in the process of, I'm sorry, I have a if we are in the process of finalizing our nonprofit, we'll be able to use our, okay, that's probably, is that also Holly's question, would we be able to use our fiscal sponsor's UEI number? And the fiscal sponsor is a nonprofit as well. Yes, what I would do, Mercedes, is I would apply as your fiscal sponsor and maybe list your organization as a partner. That way, and you could make somebody from that organization the lead applicant, and then you could be a collaborator and actually do all the work, I guess. But that would work, and as long as that nonprofit is your fiscal sponsor is in Washington. That's the other caveat there. Okay, I think we've got through these questions on the Q&A. Oh, we have one more. If we host multiple festivals, can we apply for multiple? Yes, you can. That's available. I will say we really try to spread the love around the state on all of these grants. We want to see every region, being affected by these grants. So you can apply, but I will just say if you do apply for more than one festival, please make sure you put in your application your priority festival, because we want to make sure that we know which is the top of the heap there for you. Okay, I have a nope. Cliff already answered that one. Okay, Daniel, you're a creative district and have a fiscal sponsor. Hopefully, if you're a creative district, I think creative districts, are they their own nonprofit? I don't believe so. I think that it's more of a kind of a collaboration thing. And so again, I'd have your fiscal sponsor, if they're a nonprofit, be the lead applicant, and then you could be a partner there. What would you define as cultivating a niche market? Would a new audiovisual recording booth that would be available for local radio stations use, as well as the use of artists, musicians, filmmakers in a public radio station, qualify for that type of project? I think it would qualify for this grant. I don't know. I don't know how the committee would view that one. I must say that one's a bit. It's not. It doesn't feel like it's in tourism, I would say. All right. So I think I've answered all the questions. I hope. If you have more questions, don't forget that you can always, email us individually. Here, I'll put up. Put up this that has our emails that you can always email us, and we'll get back to you. Tamara is the real brains behind this operation. So I would definitely direct your questions to her, and then if you have a question for me, I'm also available. So we're going to go ahead and end it there. We really appreciate your time today, and thank you for joining us. And we wish you good luck. And we'll be back again in a couple of weeks with our next grant. So thank you so much, and we'll talk to you soon.